Hello viewers. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to write the IELTS academic writing task 1, which is a line graph. In fact, I'll try and write 200 words and not less than 150 words because we need to score a 7.5 or 8 band. Like I always say that IELTS essay carries a lot of weightage. IELTS essay carries 6.5 bands and report writing or letter writing on the general or academic report writing would only fetch you 2.5 band. Let's at least get 2 band, which is my target. Let's see what we have here. So it's a line graph which says wheat exports from 1985 up until 1990 in millions of tons from Australia, from Canada, from European community. Okay, so we have exactly 20 minutes. I'll try and write well within 15 minutes time. That is my stipulated time. Always I keep for my graphs. The line graph. There is only one graph. So we have to say the line graph delineates or describes, elucidates, or illustrates. Any one thing is okay. Elucidates. All right, what does it elucidate? Describe. It describes the export of wheat, that is from Australia, Canada, and European community. All right, the line graph elucidates the export of wheat from 3 different countries from 1985 to 1990. Okay, we can also say 3 different countries, namely Australia, Canada, and European community from 1985 to 1990. We should not stop at that because we have to write at least 2 sentences. What do I see similarity or differences that I have to write? Now I see that Canada, or for that matters Australia, or for that matters European community, or all were the same, but then there is an increase in Canada in the year of 1988 and in European community in the year of 1990. So something has some differences there. Okay, as can be seen from the graph that the export of wheat has shown tremendous growth in European community over 5 years time period. So this is what I see as different from any other thing. Of course, there's a increase, there is a slump and everything. But then this is one thing that I see that in European community, there is an increase of at least 5 million tons. So I'm going to say that. Okay. So overall what? Now, anywhere about 15 to 19 million tons is what I see in Australia, Canada, European community in the year of 1985. Okay. or I can say to begin with. Remember, I told you if you start with overall, you have to end up with finally. But if you start with to begin with, then you have to end up with overall. To begin with, all three countries exported wheat from 15 million tons okay, then 17 million tons and 19 million tons. 17 million tons and 19 million tons in the year of 1985 respectively. Okay, whenever I'm saying something that corresponds one country from another, then you have to say respectively, because to begin with, all three countries exported wheat from 15 million tons, 17 million tons and 19 million tons in the year of, but Australia didn't do so much. So I have to say it differently. Okay. Now I have to say it this way. To begin with, Australia exported 15 million tons, whereas Canada exported 17 million tons and European community exported 19 million tons in the year of 1985. Okay. So respectively will not come when they do not sell anything together, right? Only when they sell on the same ratio, then it comes respectively. When I say all three countries sold or all three countries exported wheat in 15 million tons in the year of 1985 respectively, that is correct. But here that won't be correct. To begin with, Australia exported 15 million tons, whereas Canada exported 17 million tons and European community exported 19 million tons of wheat in the year of 1985. Then what? However, there is a decrease in Canada. However, in the following years, there is a decrease in wheat export, decrease in wheat export in Canada to from 19 it came down to almost 17.5 million tons. Okay. However, in the following years, there is a decrease in wheat export in Canada to 17.5 million tons. Okay. Now what? But there was an increase in Australia. But there was a spike in export in Australia to 17 million or 16 million tons of wheat. Okay. Spike in export of wheat in Australia to 16 million tons. Okay. At the same time, European community had a decrease as well to around, say maybe 14 or maybe 13.5 million tons. Okay, that we have to mention here. However, in the following years, there is a decrease in wheat. There is a, or there was a, You have to be careful. We'll do the proofreading later. There was a decrease in wheat export in Canada to 17.5 million tons, but there was a spike in export of wheat in Australia to 16 million tons. Okay. Similarly, European country community saw a decline in wheat export to around 13.5 million tons. Million tons. So I'm saying here in the following year, in the following years, instead in the following year of 1986, there was a decrease in wheat export in Canada to 17 million, and there was a spike in export of wheat in Australia to 16 million tons. Similarly, European community saw a decline in wheat export to 13.5 million tons. Now we have done quite a fair amount of comparison, but then that's not enough. We have to also see how many words we have written. That's very, very important. We have written only 122 words, which is not at all enough. Now I'm going to compare a few other things, like here, if you saw the Canada, there is a peak in export and there is a slump in Australia. It's not actually a slump, it's a gradual decrease. Whenever there is a slump, it is a sudden fall. Okay. Now I will say, nevertheless, see how I'm using these connectors favorably for my sentence making. So this is how you need to write. Nevertheless means in the year of 1988, in the year of 1988, Canada had an unexpected export of wheat, which peaked to what? Peak to 25 million tons. Peak to 25 million tons. Okay. But there was a decrease in Australia and Canada. Okay. Okay. But there was a slight decrease to what? Okay, so Canadian, it had an increase in the year of 1988. Okay. Okay. So nevertheless, in the year of 1988, Canada had an unexpected export of wheat, which peaked to 25 million tons, but there was a slight decrease of wheat in Australian. So what was that? So it was about same 13.5 million tons. Okay. Export from Australia. Australia, which was at 13.5 million tons. Then we have to say Canada had a steady export scenario in it was not Canada, I guess it was 13 Australia, sorry, yeah. I guess Australia, Canada. I think we are mixed up a bit here. We have to change it anyway. Let's do a proofreading. When we do the proofreading, it will be better off. Because in the red, blue, green is where I'm getting confused. Anyway, we'll do a proofreading once again. All right. The line graph elucidates the export of wheat from three different countries, namely Australia, Canada, and European Community from 1985 to 1990. As can be seen from the graph that the export of wheat has shown tremendous growth in European Community over 5 years time period. To begin with, Australia exported 15 million, yeah, correct, tons, whereas Canada exported 17 million tons. No, it was not Canada. It is actually European Community, right? Yeah. Now we have to change it. European Community exported 17 million tons and Canada exported 19 million tons of wheat. I'm so sorry. In the year of 1995. Now it is correct. Okay. 1985. However, in the following years, in 19 years of 1986, there was a decrease in wheat export in Canada to 17.5 million tons, but there was a spike in export of wheat in Australia to 16 million tons. Okay, which is actually correct. Till here, we are right. Similarly, European Community saw a decline in wheat export to 13.5 million tons. Correct. Nevertheless, in the year of 1988, Canada had an unexpected export. Did Canada have or yeah? Export of wheat, which peaked to 25 million tons, but there was a slight decrease of wheat export from Australia. No, it was, I think, Canadian Community. Okay. European Community, sorry. European Community, which was at 13.5 million tons in the year of 1988. it's kind of still confusing. Nevertheless, in the year of 1988, Canada had an unexpected export of wheat, which peaked to 25 million tons, but there was a slight decrease of wheat export from European community, which was at 13.5 million. Is it correct in 1988? Or it had a steady. Australia is correct, actually speaking. Yeah. So I had in fact confused myself. This happens. So we have to do the proofreading, which was that Canada had a steady export scenario from 1987 to 1988. 1987 to 1988, which saw an export of wheat, export of 15 million tons respectively. Because these are 2 years, 15 million tons respectively. When we are saying 2 years or 2 countries, it should be respectively. Because Canada had a steady export scenario from 1987 to 1988, which saw a wheat export of 15 million tons respectively. In both the years is when we say respectively, or both countries is when we say respectively. Now we have to see how many words we have written to conclude. All right. Now, it's a 177 words. It's a good one. I can conclude now. Abruptly, whatsoever. I can go to 1990 and conclude. Okay. Now I can say that European community, the export increased, whereas in other 2 countries, it decreased. Now I can say that. I can use a finally, the export in European community increased finally the export of wheat in European community increased to an extra 6 million tons by 1990, whereas there was a decrease in Australia, which was around close to 11.5, I can say. All right, so that was Australia, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Finally, the export of wheat, or I can say here itself, overall, the export of wheat in European community increased to an extra 6 million tons by 1990 to 21 million tons to 21 million tons, whereas there was a decrease in wheat export in Australia to 11.5 million tons in the same year. I don't have to repeat. I have to be always writing different things. So I will write it in this manner because it's the year 1990 we are talking about. Overall, the export of wheat and European community increased to an extra 6 million tons by 1990 to 21 million tons, whereas there was a decrease in wheat export in Australia to 11.5 million tons in the same year. Okay, now what happened to Canada? Nonetheless, Canada had a revival of export because there was a decline in exports in 1989. So we have to say that Canada had a revival of export from 1989 to 1990 from 14 million tons to from 14 million tons to 18.5 million tons. Okay. So if you don't want to keep that overall there and just write finally, then you have to write overall here at the beginning to say instead of begin with, you have to say overall and say finally at the end. So this is how you need to write your report writing on the IELTS academic writing task 1. Let's proofread it once. The line graph elucidates the export of wheat from 3 different countries, namely Australia, Canada, and European Community from 1985 to 1990. As can be seen from the graph that the export of wheat has shown tremendous growth in European Community over 5 years time period. To begin with, Australia exported 15 million tons, whereas European Community exported 17 million tons and Canada exported 19 million tons of wheat in the year of 1985. However, in the following year of 1986, there was a decrease in wheat export in Canada to 17.5 million tons, but there was a spike in export of wheat in Australia to 16 million tons. Similarly, European Community saw a decline in wheat export to 13.5 million tons. Nevertheless, in the year of 1988, Canada had an unexpected export of wheat which peaked to 25 million tons, but there was a slight decrease of wheat export from Australia, which was at 13.5 million tons. We can also put a comma. Punctuation is important after every conjunction or connector. Canada had a steady export scenario from 1987 to 1988, which saw a wheat export of 15 million tons respectively. Overall, the export of wheat in European Community increased to an extra 6 million, whopping 6 million tons by 1990 to 21 million tons, whereas there was a decrease in wheat exports to Australia to 11.5 million tons in the same year. Nonetheless, Canada had a revival of export from 1989 to 1990 from 14 million tons to 18.5 million tons. Of course, this is slightly confusing to you, but if you practice more and more line graphs, bar chart, process chart, and pie chart or comparisons of chart, then it becomes easier for you. My name is Sridhar Santhanam. I'm the founder of CELPIP Academy. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel and smash the like button, also comment below. See you on the other side. Thanks for watching.